Oh, are you in for a treat as I'm going to be reviewing this? So, what's going to happen here is I'm going to talk as we go through these movies a little bit, not in its entirety. I'll give you the links for these. So what we're looking at is the revitalized trilogy, Skywalker trilogy, the third trilogy, 7, 8, and 9, sort of. And this is what we're looking at right now is Heir to the Empire. It's in about 4 parts. Incomplete though, incomplete. So keep in mind that Everest Productions, shout out to Everest Productions, I'm reviewing these now. These are like animatics. In fact, they're almost practically animatics. Animatics are when George Lucas worked on the trilogy, the original trilogy and the sequel, or the original and then the prequels. He would try to find a way to set it up. Now, in the original trilogy, because computers were not as advanced as they could have been, what he wanted to do instead, I'm not showing you all that life has to offer here. He would do hand-drawn storyboards. So he would do animated hand-drawn storyboards. He would use dolls. He would use miniatures. He would do like little movies with action figures and dolls and Barbie dolls and all this shit. And he would animate how he wanted the speeder bike chase to go. He would do hand drawings of the Hoth battle with the at walkers. So like just hand drawn things and dolls, and then we got to the prequels. I can't just. And so the graphics you see here are pretty much what they did to prepare for the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and the Revenge of the Sith. To do animatics, as Rick McCallum once said, it was so helpful to figure out what the movie is going to look like with CGI and post effects and everything, stage effects, sound effects. Like, what is this movie going to look like? So you don't expect the dolls to talk or to animate very well. But here we get I'm going to say PlayStation 2.5 graphics. So if I'm offending you, Everest, I'm sorry. So it's PlayStation 2.5 graphics, but very well done. So far from an insult, it's really like it's well done and nicely polished. Could it be fixed later on? Yes, it can. And I think maybe from what I've seen of Everest from the 2 live streams, I think he might be waiting for more subscribers, more views, better like funding. Making a living off of Patreon or YouTube. This is where Luke finds the temple with the green light. We didn't see the resolution to this. So this is Luke. This is Han and Leia. I think, as far as this one is concerned, I really like this new take. I'm not sure how I feel about Dash Rendar being kind of a dummy, but I guess something has to be sacrificed. No Outrider. I don't know if there is an Outrider, but this is what we're looking at right now is a sort of a new, a revised version of Heir to the Empire, Timothy Zahn, and once he's able to be better monetized on YouTube, and he gets more subscribers, I think he's reaching for a huge goal of a lot of subs. Then I think Everest Productions could hire somebody to help polish the graphics and do lip syncing, but keep the original voice actors. So imagine this with PlayStation 4 graphics with lip syncing, and I think the fans will love it. He already revised Episode 8 with a director's cut. Okay, so here's the next chapter. There's about 4 or 5 chapters. This is the truce. So it plays out just like Heir to the Empire. You've got Thrawn, Thrawn doesn't do very much at this point. Thrawn is kind of in the background. I actually saw a motion comic version of the original Dark Horse version. I never liked, was it Jedi Silbath, or whatever his name was? I never liked that crazy Jedi. the crazy old man, who was like a twisted version of Kenobi or some shit like that. So far, so what will I rank this one? Um, I will rank this one like as far as the I would give it about a B minus. I don't want to give it a C plus. I feel like a C plus is like there are some technical problems. Now, one of the problems I had with it was that there were some scenes where there should be lighting. When Luke talks to the Imperial officer, the admiral or whoever it was, and the admiral has to turn traitor. Um, there are other scenes. I think it was between Han Solo and somebody else, but there are some scenes where it's not lit at all. So I think that Everest is trying to go for realistic lighting, but it's not cinematically correct. You want to be able to always see if your main characters are talking to each other, you always want to be able to see them in the light. Like this lighting's fine, but later on, if I'm able to, we'll get to a part where the lighting is bad. So even if they're outside in the rain, it just doesn't work. So you have to kind of light it up better so that we can see the main characters better. Other than that, I mean, like, there's some problems with the camera, the way the camera turns around and jitters. I think that's later on, where the camera pans around and then just shakes a bit. There's some technical problems. Yeah, Dengar. You know what? You know what, Everest? I always thought that Dengar had a daughter named Cara Dune. I always thought Cara Dune's father was Dengar, but that's just my feeling. So, oh yeah, this is dealing with what's her name? Mara Jade. Mara Jade. So, I think it kind of needed this chapter. Now,
you have not even told me his name.
He prefers introduction.
Oh yeah, this is the character from Heir to the Empire. I remember how this story goes. So
Odd that a bunch of cowards would jump ship and
I think today, or if we had a mini series, maybe a mini series would have been fine. But Harrison Ford didn't want to do anymore. Mark Hamill was all. If Mark Hamill was told to play Luke Skywalker again, but like maybe for a cartoon or whatever, that would have been fine. I think that would have been fine. Like, yeah, if somebody else did the voice of Han Solo, wouldn't matter mine to Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford wanted to do movies. He wanted to do Clear and Present Danger. He wanted to play that doctor that I can't remember who he was. Harrison Ford wanted to just do big budget movies that weren't Star Wars. Okay. I don't know how Carrie Fisher felt. I think Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill would have come back and reprised their characters in between the time of the 80s and the prequels. So if you could do this as a cartoon, like what you see here, if Heir to the Empire would be realized as a cartoon miniseries, you would have had Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher reprise their roles, and some other guy does the voice of Han Solo. To be like, oh no, but Harrison Ford just wants to do movies, man. That he doesn't care.
Good. Skipping fetched. Good.
Oh yeah, this is the one scene where the Imperials are talking to each other. This is like the one scene where we kind of really see them all like. I don't think this was this. I don't know if this was in the book, but I don't think this was not in the comic book. So this is nice to see the Imperials talk to each other. I've seen something like this before in... that's the guy with the handlebar mustache is the one that talks to Luke. That takes place at night. That's where you can't see them. And you kind of need to see their faces. So that was the one thing I was kind of talking about. Like, there didn't seem to be a stylized reason as to why they were in the dark, like silhouettes. Yeah, we're bringing back elements of the prequels, like the Senate House and all that. So I thought this is really neat. So it kind of bridges the gap between the 6 movies, having Imperial officers in the rotunda at Coruscant. I remember this guy. We shall have order. Oh yeah, this is where somebody gets killed. I think it's Blade, right? Blaze. And then they introduce here. Now, unlike Heir to the Empire, which was made a long, long time ago in an era far, far away, you have what's his face? Oh God, Moff Gideon. We have Hera from Rebels. We have Moff Gideon. So we know where we're at. We're in the Disney era, and yet, as much as we see Moff Gideon and Hera, it's still Heir to the Empire, but revitalized. And I really like what's going on so far. Okay, this one's chapter 3.
Frankly astounded that she implied she would go ahead with this Cinder plan.
I like that some of the Imperial officers have like a Scottish accent. So, yeah, Grand Admiral Thrawn doesn't do shit much. He's just like, I'm sitting in the throne, but I'm not doing much. Now he dies by his own like assassin's hand. That's what's supposed to happen. Don't know if it happens in the Disney timeline or something like that happens in the Disney timeline. But now, yeah, I like the world building here. So that's what I'm kind of talking about. Their faces are in the dark, so their faces should be lit up better. That's one of the technical problems. We should be able to see their faces. So that's one critique I have. This happens again with Luke and the Imperial officer. I think when Han Solo talks to Luke, we don't see their faces very well. Cinematically, it's correct to see their faces when they're talking, even though realistically it's not correct. As George Lucas once said when Yoda was fighting Dooku. Now my question is, even though your version of Heir to the Empire is not finished, does this alternate universe answer some questions about the fate of Thrawn and dealing with Mara Jade Solara or Mara Jade Skywalker? Or does it just kind of stick to the Disney content of Ahsoka and what's her face? The female bounty hunter, the female Mandalorian, whatever her name is. I'm trying to remember. This is the thing. I'm forced to remember I'm having Alzheimer's with the Star Wars names. I'm so sorry. Does this sort of finish the story? Does it kind of sort of finish the story? Let me know in the comments. So obviously there's no Force Awakens revitalized by Everest Productions. So the question is, can you stick this movie in and watch it with the other two movies? Mostly yes. Thank you. So the thing is that, and this is a problem that this is a question that Everest did not solve. Who raised Rey on that planet Jakku when Luke dropped her off? Spoiler alert. There's some spoilery here. So who raised Rey on Jakku? Was it just another scavenger? Because Rey was a scavenger, so she learned from somebody. So a scavenger raised her. Was that person just some old man who died? Heart attack, it was his time to go? That's the pieces I put in my head. But we never really know. So, other than the inconsistencies about the Millennium Falcon being lost by Lando Calrissian, we don't really know exactly much more. So I'd say you could watch this movie and then watch Revitalized. Let me tell you, this is the reason why I stopped watching Star Wars movies in theaters, okay? This one. Already you could tell that the opening crawl is not the same opening crawl that we saw from Disney. Oh no. Great stuff here. So, I mean, you could watch The Force Awakens and get into this. And no opening battle. No, there's no opening battle for this, which is kind of sad because I liked that 4DX experience, but sacrifices had to be made, as I realized after coming out of theater. So there were like 5 movies I saw in theaters. One was... The first Star Wars movie I ever saw in a theater was Revenge of the Sith. I wanted to see Attack of the Clones. but I had a final exam for my college courses. Phantom Menace, I didn't go see it. The other three movies, I was so little when they came out. But this is basically the First Order looking for the Resistance.
Offense.
Yeah, so
Some ticket.
Finn, I'm going to give you some spoilers, okay? Leia Organa does not slap Poe.
Hey, Finn.
She does not slap Poe Dameron. Thank fucking God for that. Also, Holdo is not in this at all. Holdo is back on Coruscant making sandwiches and staying in the kitchen, okay? That's the one woman that we don't need to see out of the kitchen. Holdo can stay right where she is. Bye. I never liked Holdo. I hated her. I hated her. Rose Tico was a problem, okay? And I can separate the actor from the performer, so I don't have a problem with Kelly Marie Tran. But I hated Holdo. I hated her worse than anything. I mean, Phasma is a villain, but she's supposed to be a villain. But Holdo was worse than Phasma. Phasma was probably more merciful than Holdo.
What a surprise. What a surprise.
Yeah, this is the scene where Han Solo talks to Luke. Luke is a bit older now. And Mara, I think this obviously takes place after Heir to the Empire. And so he's a little bit older, a little bit wiser. So let's say 1987, 1988. So, 1988, if you wanted to see this, like how many years? Probably like 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So I thought this was a nice scene. It's sort of giving us... It's kind of like the Joker's origin. Oh, Joker, a pun there. It's kind of like the Joker's backstory or something. We get a little bit of why Luke... Now, spoiler alert. Rey is the daughter of Luke and Mara Jade. However, because of what happened with Ben Solo was tricked by this guy who turned out to be... He wanted to be a Sith Lord. And he became a Sith Lord. He became a Supreme Leader.
As soon as I can.
So this guy ended up becoming Snoke. I don't know if it's Darth Snoke, if you want to see it that way, but these two Jedi became two Sith Lords and tried to demolish all that Luke, or did demolish all that Luke worked hard on. Luke worked hard to build a new Jedi Order, probably with Grogu. So, he was trying to do this with Grogu during the time of the Mandalorian. And then Snoke got Kylo Ren to destroy the Jedi Order. So Luke somehow ends up on the island. So half of what you see in Revitalized... Now, to be fair, he made I don't know what changed. I did not see the original cut of this movie. So I'm not sure what significant thing Everest Productions added to this version. This is his second version. So I don't know what he added. But the time that Rey spends on the island with Luke is pretty much what you see from the movie. Slightly different, but mostly the same as what you saw in the movie. And that might turn off some people. But once you understand what Rey was about and where Rey came from, as opposed to Kylo Ren telling Rey she had no past, she was nobody in the Disney movie, then it doesn't hurt so badly. It doesn't hurt so much. And here we have not Mon Mothma, but the daughter of Mon Mothma, who is the Supreme Chancellor on Coruscant. They could have made... I wonder if you could have made this blue, like, instead of red. But that would have been kind of funny if you made the Supreme Chancellor's quarters blue to kind of reflect blue happiness, blue things. But that's just a nitpick from me. Sometimes the nicest surprise. Now, there we see Admiral Akbar. And I didn't even know Admiral Akbar died in The Last Jedi until Angry Joe pointed this out to me. I was like, what the fuck?
She is
Yeah, so we see a little bit more of the fight here between the two.
Fear leads to anger, and anger leads to hate.
I like the voice actor though for Luke Skywalker, and I do like Rey. So here we have basically the same fight we saw in the movie, but the way that Kylo Ren ends Snoke is much better than what we saw. I mean, the way we fucking end Snoke is like he didn't see the lightsaber coming. No. Now, I will say, to be fair, it's a little more cinematic, like kind of sneak. Ah, gotcha, bitch. I stuck it from behind you. But still, I think it's better than what we got. Like, Snoke didn't see the lightsaber coming from him as it sliced him in half. There's no fucking way.
The same Skywalker, strong-willed and powerful than ever.
What Admiral Akbar does is notable, and is the same thing we saw in The Last Jedi. Oh yeah, by the way, Kylo Ren gives a hell of a fight. He tries to force choke Rey, pushes back Chewbacca. Yeah, Kylo Ren's an asshole in this one. It kind of makes sense. But, yeah, so here we get the sacrifice. Yep. So Admiral Akbar, not Holdo, is the one that sacrifices to save the Resistance. And I think that was a worthy death. It's sad, but much better than him dying and nobody fucking knew. That was disrespectful, and Disney didn't give a shit.
Solana, Rey Solana.
This is a nice scene.
You were only a child when I found you. I never had any children like my father. But you were the closest thing to a daughter. Until that night. You were there on the night of Ben's attack. The rage building inside me. Everything I'd done was because I thought you were in harm's way.
Yep.
When I found you, I knew I couldn't save you. The one I loved, Mara Solana. I gave her to you. I gave her to you. It was too late when I realized the First Order was close to finding you. You weren't abandoned. You were saved.
So we still don't know who took care. Yeah, this is a good scene. Little choppy, but it's a good scene. This is the scene we did not get. Thanks a lot, Rian Johnson. So, like, we get a little bit of tie-in to Episode 9 early in Episode 8. Episode 8 leads directly into 9. Whereas in the Disney cut, it's sort of like a couple of years later. So we see Palpatine. Or do we see Palpatine? Oh, God, the revelation is pretty obvious once you get to it. I'll likely spoil it for you, but it's such a great trilogy redemption here.
Nothing has changed. You already passed it.
What was it?
Good scene here.
Giving your master common sense. All right, take your stance. I want to see your blade.
You're on, Master.
Too stiff.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Strike.
That is how you end it. Not with the stupid kid with the stupid broom. I hated that part. Where JJ can go to hell, so can Rian Johnson can also go to hell. And Kathleen too. Yeah, but when he just raises the broom at the moon, that's so dumb. It's like Disney signing their name. So for The Last Jedi Revitalized, I would give I'll give it an A-. I'm definitely putting it in the A range. I would put so a low A for that, a low B for the Heir to the Empire chapters. I liked it. I know this is the best one. And look at the opening crawl, is much more intelligent in Rise of Skywalker than what we got. Rey Solana, that's right, Rey Solana, not Rey Palpatine. Yeah, so instead of something else, we get a good ground battle. Look at this good ground battle. I think it's kind of reminiscent of there's a battle with the horses and shit, and the red stormtroopers that takes place in the Disney cut. I only played the Lego Star Wars. That's how I kind of know what happens in Episode 9, and I've seen some scenes, but I don't know too much. But this kind of reminds me of that. The Rise of Skywalker. This is, Last Jedi. I didn't care to go see any more Star Wars, and I didn't see Solo, and I didn't see this. But now I'm seeing the Revitalized. I like the camera angles here. Simple. It's an animatic. Keep in mind. But it's good. It's good positioning of all the soldiers and everything. This is how you open up the Star Wars, right? The last Star Wars in the 9 movies.
Just give us some more time.
Yeah, Finn's a much better hero. Here you have this warlord. And here you have Luke. You have Luke and now his new apprentice, Rey, disguised as stormtroopers, infiltrating, which I thought was very good. But Rey taps into her dark side a little bit too soon and kills the warlord.
Basked in it.
I can't stand this place anymore. Let's return.
Finally, Rey is somebody that I respect now. I liked her as a scavenger, and I do like BB-8. And if you watch The Force Awakens and we watch these two revitalized things, I think it goes much better. Still clunky. Oh yeah, this is Kylo Ren looking for Rey. Now I forgot to tell you, Rose Tico does show up in this movie, and she gets killed right away. We don't need to see Rose. I liked Paige Tico. Her sister that we saw in the beginning of The Last Jedi. But we don't miss Rose Tico. Check out that double-bladed blue lightsaber. You know what I would have done? This is the nitpick. I would have had Rey use the force kick. What force kick would be is like a force push, but you use your foot to kick somebody like you throw them back with a kick. So using your foot. It's kind of like a nice surprise that you put in there. Like, when Anakin and Obi-Wan fight on Mustafar, they're not just using the lightsabers, they're actually punching each other in the face. So they do these little surprises that you kind of show to kind of add a little bit. Kind of like when Luke lifts the X-Wing in The Last Jedi, it would have been more interesting to show the X-Wing coming out of the water as though we're watching the X-Wing go on its own, but it isn't until we hit the da-da, da-da, we see Luke's hand, and of course, Luke learned how to lift the X-Wing. It would have been a surprise, but if you saw for a few seconds, it's Luke, he's learned how to use the X-Wing, the Force, to get that X-Wing out of the water. But like I said, but I think because the way that Everest did it was to show Luke the whole time lifting it out of there, but it would have been a nice surprise more than it was a presentation. But those are little nitpicks. But sometimes these little surprises that come out of nowhere, kind of like at the end of Darth Plagueis, when the end of the book takes place at the same time as the Phantom Menace, And there is her mother. That is Mara Jade. I was thinking of Sabine Wren becoming a Jedi. That was stupid. Just didn't feel earned.
I should just control my emotions.
Now, she is revealed to be a creation of the Force. She's revealed to be Abeloth, and Abeloth is like this most powerful, dangerous being in Star Wars Extended Universe. Abeloth goes back to the Dark Horse era, and I like that surprise. Ugh, God. Look at those teeth.
The shadows until your apprentice passes away. Palpatine thought he'd...
Yeah, it's obvious that it was not Palpatine was a facade. Palpatine was a misdirect. This is the spoiler. It is Plagueis. Plagueis, Luke looks for the clues to who is behind what's happening with the First Order on Moraban, or Korriban, as Luke points out. Korriban, but he meets an ugly old Sith, like a mummy kind of guy, and it's revealed to be Higo Damask, or Plagueis Reborn. Oh shit, some psycho shit's happening here. This is a really good final scene. Yeah, Plagueis is the big bad guy in the whole thing. So, it's not a clone of Palpatine. This is really good. Oh shit. Battle of the Heroes. So Kylo Ren does reform. He does join the light side, and he helps Luke out.
Here.
The way he's meant to.
Under the rubble. What? A baby?
This is the origin story of Rey.
We should head back to the new Jedi Temple. I can have Leia take the child to the New Republic. Find it a home. Before the Emperor took her away from me.
You need to choose the path you make.
Better.
You've chosen the path.
So it's sad, but obviously Luke dies at the end.
I couldn't have done it without you.
Could use a little bit of better lighting here, but okay.
Your destiny lies alone.
Father.
I'll always be with you.
Yeah. Now, this is the thing. I talked to Everest about it, but he didn't want to. He didn't want to have a scene where Finn and Poe dies in this, of course. Finn and the daughter of Lando and Leia all regroup. It would have been nice to see where everybody was going to end up. I like Kate Skywalker's story. Kate Skywalker versus Darth Krayt, Darth Talon, and the army of Sith, the Imperial Jedi Knights, Rowan Fell, the third Fell Emperor. I'm assuming is this Cole's father? Is this Cole's father, Everest? What do you think? I think that's Cole's father.
Indeed.
Cade's grandfather. Cade's great-grandmother is Rey. How about that?
Of course. But after.
Good scene. This is definitely an A+. So A+ for Skywalker, A- for The Last Jedi, and a B- only because Heir to the Empire was not finished. And overall, I'll give this a solid A. Really a solid A. I think you did a fantastic job. You redeemed them. And you can watch The Force Awakens, the original Disney movie, with these movies, and I don't think you'll miss anything. Finish Heir to the Empire. Let me know what happens here. But yeah, great stuff. So that's it. There's other fan films, the What Ifs, that I'll review. There's another Star Wars fan film, Wingman, made by another YouTuber. We'll take a look at that. That's it for now. Just don't watch the other stuff. Just watch Everest production stuff.